This question's been asked since the dawn of time, and maybe you can answer it. Can you make a hoe a housewife?
Well, it depends.
Elaborate.
No, I'm not going to elaborate any further. I'd say it depends.
It only depends.
It only depends. Depends on which rapper you are.
Well, I think Dr. Dre, or if you want to get really specific, Corrupt asked that question a long time ago.
Yes.
The
2001, if I'm not mistaken.
The only reason I bring it up, yes, great album. The only reason I bring it up is because there was a topic of conversation yesterday when it came to Lane Kiffin, former Raiders head coach Lane Kiffin, who's definitely bounced around from place to place since then in college football. And he got mad when Ole Miss reporter Ben Garrett referred to him, or not, well, I guess referred to him as a hoe in reference of if he's going to jump ship from Ole Miss to LSU, because there's an offer on the table apparently for $13.5 million from LSU. And apparently there's also an offer on the table from Ole Miss as well for him to stay for $13.5 million. Well, you can't make a hoe a housewife, in which Lane Kiffin was pissed about and wanted to talk to Ben Garrett after the game about, saying, we have the clip right here, actually. He's walking off the field.
I thought you were taking a while to explain this just so I could get the video.
Well, I mean, like for the podcast audience, the video doesn't do it justice. But yeah, for the YouTube audience, let's just play it and then I'll go in detail.
So you want to walk in here and call me a hoe? We'll see how it goes.
So he sees Ben Garrett, double takes, comes back and says to him, if you're going to call me a hoe, let's see how it goes when you come into the locker room. Basically, I guess implying that his team would kick his ass, because I don't know if Lane Kiffin's going to do the ass kicking himself. But I don't know. I just find the whole thing funny. And then he went into detail in the post-game press conference as well, being like, I think that's offensive to call somebody a hoe, which I get. I totally understand it. I think the rap lyric is apt, and it was just meant to be funny. But of course, Lane Kiffin takes everything a little too seriously.
Well, I don't know, because this On3 guy who mostly does podcasts, I think, and obviously goes to the games and stuff, but he is really milking this thing.
I saw afterwards. Yeah,
he's gotten a couple of videos out there already explaining their little post-game tussle, and they have quite a few views, and they're getting a reaction one way or another, and that's the whole point of this job, right? Is to get the buzz, create the buzz. Yeah. So I thought it was a little more calculated than that, but I'm okay with Lane Kiffin going to those lengths to call out that reporter for that, because you use that for it's not the pros, but you use that for a team that you're covering. That's a little odd.
I hear that. I also think that it was meant in jest, but I get it. When someone calls somebody a hoe, that's a derogatory term. And I've always said, you could say what you want on the radio sometimes if you're willing to back it up. But also, or a podcast, whatever. But if a athlete or a coach hears what you say and doesn't like it, they're allowed to get in your face about it.
For sure.
As long as things don't get violent. But, I think you have to be able to, be willing to be told by that person you're wrong, or that's a ridiculous thing to say. I mean, like, if I ever was caught by, I doubt he would give a shit, but if John the Kaminga or if anybody ever heard anything I said about them and they were like, that's lame of you to say that, I couldn't do anything about that. Yeah. So
what do you think happens, though? What do you think happens if they go to the back and he does end up calling Lane a hoe to his face? What does Lane Kiffin do? Does he punch him? Does he give him the old dazed and confused Ben Affleck treatment? No more Mr. Nice Guy.
Oh, yeah. In all slow motion and everything?
Battle.
Yeah.
What does Lane do in that situation?
I think Lane gets in his face.
You say lucky violence didn't happen, and that's what I kind of thought about in my head. Well, what would happen then if he ends up calling a hoe in that specific area? Does Lane just go full hold me back with the security guard surrounding him?
I think it's similar to, you ever seen the video of Steve Sarkisian before, I think, the Alamo Bowl against Washington? and the security guard touches him, but he screams at him like, "Don't fucking touch me, bro."
When was that? When was that? USC?
No, this was when he was head coach of Texas, and it was
Oh, jeez.
he just snapped. He snapped when the guy touched him. I think that he would get in his face and scream at him, but I think Lane's never going to throw hands. I think that would be a bad look for any coach to actually start throwing hands.
Yeah, Tom Cable.
Yeah, well, that's a whole different deal. With his assistant coaches, and how dare you question my game plan? Good Lord.
Oh, fun stuff.
There was some other stuff with Tom Cable that was much more serious.
What would happen if Tom Cable was coaching this Raiders team and Chip Kelly didn't know what plays he was calling?
Dude, we'll get into that. Just for the Raider angle, I've always hated Lane Kiffin for the way he conducted himself as Raiders coach. And I get it, like Al Davis played games with him like he did with a lot of coaches, forced Jamarcus Russell on him when he wanted Calvin Johnson. But I don't know, just since that time, Lane's always just been kind of smug to me. And he fits college football perfectly with kind of the arrogant,
right, totally
arrogant nature of him. So,
well, the arrogant nature of just head coaches in college.
Yeah, no, totally.
You know, like they think they are gods, and they kind of are. I mean, the school gives them the structure of college football gives them that much power. But that's also where I'm seeing that. I am envisioning a decline in the ego of these college coaches if more programs go the way of the general manager, because like we're seeing it now with Ron Rivera and Andrew Luck in the Bay, and there's a lot of other prominent programs with GMs too. But it's just, hey, if you mess up, your ass is out of here. Like, I think we're going to see a lot more turnover in the coaching realm just based on what I've seen this last season.
Well, yeah, especially with a bunch of guys being fired mid-season. So
yeah, if more GMs take over, that is. But I could see a decline. But for now, like, I'm so used to seeing, like, when I picture college football coaches, I still picture Nick Saban like yelling at his kicker, or I was going to say Brian Kelly with LSU, but I forgot who was coaching LSU at the time. But a coach at LSU getting in the face of one of his players, or who's my guy from Clemson whose name's escaping me right now?
Dabo Swinney.
Yeah, Dabo. I was about to say Jimbo Fisher, but Dabo Swinney. Like, all these guys who just feel they have the will to just get in these teenagers' faces, in these college kids' faces, just because they might have messed up a play.
Yeah.
Now, I wonder if that's ever going to happen with GMs, but I could see it.
No, I'm with you. Now that there's a guy above the head coach that's not the AD, yeah, I think that you're going to see less guys have that power.
Right.
Like, even like last night, I don't know his name, but the Texas A&M head coach, they got all pissed off that he could hear the Texas chants after Texas won last night. Great win, by the way. It's just, college coaches, like we're going to hear names attached to NFL openings, but like I'm kind of over college coaches going to the NFL because they're not like Kyle Shanahan. They're not like Matt LaFleur. They're not like these, or even Ben Johnson, like guys that are just great play callers and just crazy about football. I think a lot of these guys kind of take an easier road.
Yeah.
And by the way, I guess Lane Kiffin will make a decision today about LSU or Ole Miss. So can't wait for that. He's going to pray on it. Just your opinion, man. Stephen Langford, Derek Popper, we're coming to you on an early Saturday morning because Michigan and Ohio State's about to go on. But also, I am leaving a little earlier today. I was planning on leaving at 7:30 tonight, but there is a thunderstorm coming towards Houston, so I got to hop on an earlier flight and head back to the Bay Area. But I had a great time here in Houston visiting my mom and little brother. How was your Thanksgiving, Stephen?
That was tremendous. Yeah, it was good. Just hung out with the family. A lot of cheese.
A lot of cheese, huh?
A lot of cheese. A lot of rosé. Obviously, the turkey dinner and all that. Good times, man.
Nice. What kind of cheese we talking about here?
All sorts of cheese. Gouda. Smoked Gouda. Cheddar. Smoked cheddar.
We talking brie?
A little bit of brie.
Yeah.
There was a tiny bit of brie.
I usually do a little bit of pepperoni and brie as like my go-to holiday snack for whatever reason.
I know you've talked about this the last 3 years. It's an interesting combination. Even during the Super Bowl, you're like, oh, charcuterie, gonna have pepperoni and a little bit of cheese.
Yeah, I mean,
big on the pepperoni on the charcuterie board.
Love me some pepperoni, but it's got to be pepperoni sticks. If it's already sliced, it's no good.
Duh.
Well, yeah, of course. Every Italian knows that, and every, I think,
Mm.
person that eats pepperoni knows that.
Yeah.
Do you have a drink of choice when you're lounging around for Thanksgiving or any holiday?
No.
Not really? Don't care?
Anything.
And take anything. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm
I don't have a drink of choice. No.
Well, I don't know if you have, you get that phase in your life where you're the, the dad or the grandpa, or not the grandpa, but the, well, in time, the grandpa, but the uncle that like sits around and like drinks scotch while football's going around. You're telling like your son or your nephews, like, I remember when football used to be better. You're going to be that guy, Steven.
Well, maybe, but not now.
Okay. All right.
Now I'm just like guy who sparingly watches football on Thanksgiving. It is more just kind of lounging around, just trying to find alcohol wherever he could get it.
Fair enough. So no shock here. I'm a big Bloody Mary guy, and this is one thing I hate about Houston or Texas in general. My mom forgot to get Tito's on Thanksgiving morning. Yeah, just fine. Let's go out to the liquor store. All liquor stores are closed. So you're like, well, just go to the HEB or the Randall's or any local grocery store here in Houston. Can't do that. In the state of Texas, you cannot buy liquor from a grocery store. Something I take for granted in California.
Yeah, that's
Sucks.
Right. Yeah,
absolutely sucks.
Yeah, those places are open on Thanksgiving though.
Yes, those grocery stores are open, but you can't buy liquor from those locations.
Just go to HEB and get one of those big ass pies. That'll make you happy.
Yeah, that will replace the liquor that I can't get.
Yeah.
Well, we definitely had pie. We had pumpkin pie. That's about it. I always tell my mom to get a bunch of stuff, and then in the end, I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm full off of most of the food we got. So a lot of wasted food that I made my mom buy. I feel bad.
As you should.
I know. I told her too. I was like, you don't need to get all that stuff, but she just likes me coming home, so she just buys it.
Yeah.
All right, Steven, should we get into these Thanksgiving games, all of which were upsets?
Yeah.
All right then.
Duh.
Well, okay then. So what's the most surprising outcome of the last 2 days in your opinion?
I would probably say the Cowboys getting by the Chiefs. I think that was most surprising. What?
You picked that one.
I know, but it was still surprising that it actually happened.
For me,
like
it was.
If you had to tell me the most surprising outcome, like I guess I was surprised that the Bears were able to run all over the Eagles' defense and putting up numbers in the first half, which had not even been put up in an entire game. I think against the Eagles, at least on average this season. So I was surprised by that. I guess I was surprised with the Bengals just, I don't want to say pummeling the Ravens. I guess I was surprised that the Ravens just absolutely lost that game themselves just because they turned it over so many damn times. Like, how are you going to turn the ball over, 4 times or whatever it is?
5,
5 times against a division rival. Like, am I surprised by that? I guess. But really, it is like the Cowboys actually getting by the Chiefs in the way that they did with, Patrick Mahomes doing whatever he does in the fourth quarter in, a couple of pass interference penalties later, and the Cowboys end up going ahead late. So I guess there's a few things I'm surprised by, but the fact that the Cowboys actually beat the Chiefs, even though I picked it, I'm still surprised.
Yeah, I'm surprised how, I don't want to say a free fall, but like with the Chiefs right now, like they're struggling. I don't even know if they're gonna make the playoffs. Which all Raider fans are over. I mean, every NFL fan is going to be wanting that. For me, the most surprising thing would be the Bengals beating the Ravens and how good Joe Burrow looked. Like, I was pleasantly surprised. I thought he'd be a little rusty, but just the fact that he, starts for them and it just changes like that. They just switch it on. The defense plays a hell of a lot better. Lamar Jackson looked terrible. So we'll get to all of that, but that to me was the most surprising game. But let's go in chronological order. Let's start with the morning game. Packers beat the Lions 31-24.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
I mean, I wasn't too surprised about this one because once Amon-Ra St. Brown got injured, it's like, okay, their offense is going to be hindered,
right?
But they still got great playmakers in Jameson Williams and Jahmyr Gibbs.
Uh-huh.
But they have offensive line issues. Not to mention Frank Ragnow was supposed to come back. He retired this offseason.
Yeah.
There was a report that came out a couple days ago that he was going to come back and help out this offensive line, and then this morning it's reported that he failed the physical, so he's not coming back at all. But this Packers team reminded me of the team we saw week 1 and 2 that beat the crap out of the Lions and the Commanders. I mean, their pass rush, they may have the best pass rush in football right now, which is the consistency of them getting to the quarterback with Micah Parsons and Rashawn Gary.
Which was what we kind of opined at the start of the season. We didn't want to get too ahead of ourselves.
Right,
By just calling us the best defensive line in football. But at the time, that's when we're like, oh, shit, Micah Parsons is only playing on third down in pass rushing situations. Like, what's it going to look like when he's an everyday edge rusher?
Yeah.
I think we're kind of seeing it now. I'm almost surprised in a way looking at the Packers record, like seeing as they picked up 8 wins, because if you the way we've been talking about it, we haven't really talked about them as a true like contender this year, but I think their defense has kind of come along these last couple of weeks where you're thinking, geez, if it's a game where it's coming down to, if it's a playoff game where it's coming to crunch time, and this is when really, in my opinion, and this might be true, is when defensive linemen really make their money, is normally at the end of a game, late in the fourth quarter, you'll see either botched play or potentially a sack happen. And the botched play is usually because the defensive line gets a little bit of pressure on the quarterback. If you're going to have to ask me which defensive line I'd feel most confident in making one of those plays, ones that are literally change the complexion of the entire thing, like it'd probably be the Packers right now, just based on what Parsons did at the end of that game.
No, absolutely. It's kind of reminiscent of when the Rams had Leonard Floyd and Von Miller and all those guys. They did get a significant injury with Devontae Wyatt, their defensive tackle from Georgia. He broke his foot, so he's out for the remainder of the year. But I think that, their pass rush sets them apart from everybody else in that division. It's funny to see like 3 different teams play this weekend, or not even this weekend, but the last few days, in the Lions, Packers, and Bears. And I feel more confident in the Packers and Bears going forward. I still think the Lions, they need to make the playoffs because they're just a fun team to watch with their offense. But they're not good defensively right now. They have injuries. They got guys back, but still giving up a ton of points. As far as the Packers, we were talking about them as a contender early on, but that was so early. That was week 2 where it was the hype of Micah Parsons. But you saw all the offensive injuries catch up with them, and Jordan Love was playing bad football. And then yesterday, I thought that was his best performance of the season with some clutch throws. Devontae Wicks coming up big. He hasn't looked like, the guy that we saw in that playoff game against the Dallas Cowboys for a long time now. But, dude, I think that with the Lions, their injuries are just catching up with them. Sam Laporte is out for the year. It sounds like Amon-Ra will be out for 2 weeks now. But they need to, it would suck if they didn't make the playoffs. And I know 49er fans, like, that's one team you're like, okay, cool. They're having their issues right now. We can leapfrog them again to the postseason. I still think the 49ers defense couldn't slow down that Lions offense. I don't know about the Lions defense slowing down the 49ers offense.
Right.
But, they're struggling right now. And next week they have to play Dallas and they have to play the Rams. So I still want to see them make the playoffs, but it's not looking good right now.
No, dude, if they can't get to the quarterback, the Lions defense, then the opponent's going to shred them. Like, they didn't get to Jordan Love really at all. They kept him protected, and that's why he was able to throw 4 touchdowns. So, I don't know, man. I mean, that's just stating the old obvious, but the Packers are back. I think point being from this game, the Packers are back to being one of those contending teams again. They've really just managed to weather the storm, played in a lot of close games too. If you go back and look at a lot of their wins this season. So I think that's like a main takeaway from this is they might have been, or they might be who we thought they might have been.
Going Denny Green there, huh?
Little Denny Green.
All right.
Changing it up.
As far as like the aggressiveness from both of these coaches, I thought it was crazy as hell for Matt LaFleur to throw the ball on, what was it, like 4th and 3 and make that conversion to Devontae Wicks or Dontavius Wicks. But that's what solidified the game. That's what made them, pull out this victory, 31-24. So you got to appreciate the big balls by Matt LaFleur there. And I know like a lot of people wanted him fired after those back-to-back losses to the Panthers and Eagles. that's where like fans, like I never understand just how volatile they'll get after losses. I get it; it sucks, but just because a guy has questionable play calling, you want to get rid of a guy that has a proven record like Matt LaFleur. The same thing with Kyle Shanahan. Sometimes fans just turn on them. So
Well,
I rather have him
Derek,
than a lot of other coaches right now.
Derek, we've talked about that though. That doesn't have anything to do with the coaches. That just has to do with the fans
Oh, of course.
wanting whatever they wanting to say or make whatever difference that they can. And the biggest difference that they can make is saying fire a head coach or bench this player.
Yeah.
There's nothing else fans can really think of to say.
But then what's the solution after that? Like, I actually
Right.
got in this conversation with your favorite guy, Jack Loader, where his thing is, should fans have to give a resolution after they say fire this coach? And I'm like, yeah, if you're taking the time to be like fire this guy or bench this quarterback or whatever, then what's the game plan after that?
Right.
And he was like, well, it doesn't matter. You're a fan. You should be able to say fire this guy and then have everybody else figure it out. No, if you're a fan and you think that, they come up with a solution as well. If you're taking the time to say, I know in my heart that this coach is a detriment to us going forward and he should be fired, then who's better? If you want to fire Kyle Shanahan and replace him with Bill Belichick, fine. That's a solution, but it's a dumb one. But if you just say all the time, fire Bob Melvin, well, okay, but who's the answer after that? Well, I don't know. That's not my job. It's not your job to fire somebody in the first place.
That was it's really funny that Ernie mentioned the guru quote, fan is short for fanatic, because as soon as you started mentioning that, yeah, the one person that took me back to was Guru. One time he said fire this coach, and then Signy's like, well, what do you do? I don't know. I don't get paid to do that.
Exactly. Like I love it when fans, and I get it, like fans will also tell you, like, I don't know, man, I'm just I'm upset because we lost the game. But when you go to those links, or even media members, when media members pound on their microphone and say it on sports talk radio or a podcast, this guy needs to be fired, then come up with a solution as well, because you can't just give me, well, firing this guy will solve all our problems. No, it won't. You can't have the team coach. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. But that caveat's never going to happen. Like that, you're never going to get that little.
I'm just yelling at. I'm an angry man yelling at a cloud right now because I hate the way that sports fans conduct themselves sometimes.
Oh, Jack Loader.
Oh, he really pushes my buttons sometimes. Okay, but as far as the aggressiveness with the fourth down calls, kudos to Matt LaFleur, even though I think it's risky as hell to do that, and I would kill him today if that backfired in his face. But with Dan Campbell, this is the second time this year, man, where he went for it aggressively. The Philadelphia game a couple weeks ago, they were 0 for 5. This game, you're down by 10 points. Kick a field goal every once in a while, Dan. I understand, like, that's just the way he is, and I'm not going to back down. That's my mentality as a coach. But it does cost you victories. It cost you the NFC Championship game. It cost you the game against the Eagles. I'm not going to say it cost you in this game because you were behind most of the game. But
well, I think you could make the argument that it did, though, because I mean, it's hindsight's 2020. You love the aggressive nature of Dan Campbell, but then when the Packers go 3 and out the next drive,
yeah, I know,
down by 10, you got 9 minutes left in the game.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, even yesterday, we'll get to it later, but with the Eagles going for the 2-point conversion, and you screw yourself because you're down by 9. It's a 2-point. It's a 2-possession game. Like, you got to think things out. Like, you got to plan. I always say, like, plan for the worst when you're a coach. You got to think about, like, what if I don't get this? Am I still in the game? If you don't get it, you're out of the game. You screwed yourself. Yeah. So I thought that.
And it feels like he does it out of like it feels like he does it just out of the nature of being aggressive rather from a I don't trust my defense standpoint. Like I feel like Campbell would trust his defense. Like it's just for the sake, being aggressive for the sake of being aggressive, which just doesn't work in the fourth quarter.
No, I mean, it works a year ago when you beat the Packers and we all watched that footage of the quarterback show where Dan Campbell's like, we're playing with guys off the street. Like no offense to any of these defensive guys, but I can't rely on them this week.
Yeah.
So we're going to go for it every fourth down. And they converted it because it was fourth and manageables. You had David Montgomery who was running more effectively than this season. This year, you're lucky to win that game against the Giants last week. And then this week you got exposed with what you're lacking in defense right now.
Yeah.
So I still think the Lions make the playoffs, but they're definitely not winning the division now. I think this is the Packers or Bears NFC North right now.
Who's their kicker? It's Jake Bates too. Jake Bates ain't bad.
No, he's great. He made a 59-yarder last week to get him into overtime. So The state of coaches right now with how aggressive they are, uh, analytics, whatever. I hear you, but you know, I rather stay in a game than have to play catch up when there's 4 minutes left of the fourth quarter. You're down by 10 when you could have easily cut it to a one possession game. I think that's just stupid.
Right.
Give yourself a chance. Okay, let's go to the Cowboys and Chiefs game. The Cowboys win 31-28. Completely different team than what we saw earlier this year. Back-to-back weeks, they beat both Super Bowl teams, the Eagles and the Chiefs. And I'll just ask you this, Steven. You think CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens are the best receiving duo in the NFL right now?
I'd have to give it to them. Usually I'd give it to the team before. I'd give it to the Lions with Jamison Williams and Amon-Ra St. Brown. But right now, Pickens, I think he knows that he's getting paid next year. Like, he is playing like a man that is eligible for a new contract and understands that the Cowboys, maybe they're not the long-term solution, but he's going to earn a contract elsewhere. I think I would have to give it to them. Like, CeeDee Lamb's always been here's how I'll say it. When these two got paired up, you kind of knew that they were the best as far as the flashy plays, like their ability to high point the ball and make the unbelievably difficult catches, like ones that make you go back to like Odell Beckham, like, you know what I mean? Like it's those kinds of catches that they're always making, that they were always making when Lamb was with the Cowboys and Pickens was with the Steelers. But you knew that. You knew you were getting an extremely talented group, but I didn't know they would be consistently helping the Cowboys win games as much as they have been, even when Lamb's not on the field. Like, obviously Pickens took over as a number one when Lamb got hurt earlier. I think that's what surprised me the most about it, but I think you would have to give it to them, really. Like, I mean, what more do you want?
Yeah, no, I'd say right now they are the most complementary with each other.
Yeah.
As far as both being number one receivers.
Yeah.
Like, you could say, okay, Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, but T. Higgins is a number two. Same thing with the Eagles, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. A.J. Brown's the alpha number one. I think you can make the case that George Pickens could be the alpha with the Cowboys and CeeDee Lamb's the number two, or vice versa. Right now they are the most dominant receiving duo in the NFL, and you have to question what the Steelers were thinking. I get it. I actually kind of applauded the move at the time because George Pickens never lived up to expectations. How many times do we say, okay, he missed the team bus, or he missed something where he was late to the game a year ago, Christmas Day against the Chiefs? I get it. And Mike Tomlin's a no-nonsense guy. He wants volunteers, not hostages. And you wonder if George Pickens would have jived with Aaron Rodgers. But now he's been amazing right now. And yeah, they would have never been able to pay George Pickens had Micah Parsons been on the team. So
right.
Put all your money towards offense. Now, at the same time, they did trade for Quinnen Williams, and his contract's up in 2 years. So I wonder how that's going to go. Yeah. But the defense is totally different. It's not like they're amazing, like, they're shutting teams out or anything, but they're better in run defense with Quinnen Williams right now. And yeah, they're just playing better. And I think we have to also acknowledge that Brian Schottenheimer is a better coach than I think most people anticipated. I think people right away was like, Nepo baby hire. He's never getting any interviews. He's been a coach for a long ass time, for 20 years, and never got the opportunity. So why are they doing this now? Yeah, it was a cheap move. No question. But seems like the right move to me at the moment. Yeah. So yeah, as far as the Cowboys, I don't think they're making the playoffs by any means. They could, maybe they go on a run.
Well, see, that's the thing about the trade, though. It's like the trade does make them better instantly, but at the place that where the Cowboys were at heading into the trade deadline, they weren't really in a buyer's situation. Like, right. They were, I didn't think they were even in a seller's situation. I thought
they literally got their ass kicked by the Arizona Cardinals the night before.
I think they were in a stand pat kind of situation, really.
Yeah.
So them bringing in Quinnen Williams, it's great. It's great that it happened this season, but it's like long term where you're wondering if that trade can pay off. And really, I mean, if they're not able to pay George Pickens for whatever reason and things get ugly this offseason, I think we can look back to that trade and think, oof. Well, because Pickens right now is turning into like almost the the possession receiver. Like, I don't think I gave him enough credit for how meticulous of a route runner he is. Like, his ability, man, to just get away from the cornerback in a short yardage one-on-one situation, like on a crossing route, the way that he shakes some defenders up, it looks like Devontae Adams at times, really. Like, I'm willing to go that far. Like, I'm not saying he's the best route runner in the league, but he might be on his way. I didn't realize he'd be that good in short yardage situations. I thought where he really was at his most lethal was when he's going deep down the sideline, running a 9 route, and you're able to just hurl the ball up and he'll go and make a catch for you. And CeeDee Lamb is running deep routes at a higher rate than he ever has in his career. And that's largely because Pickens is there. Man, they got to find a way to, now that we're talking about it, they got to find a way to keep these two around. But then you see what happens with the Bengals. They found a way to keep both Jamar Chase and T. Higgins around. And obviously, if Joe Burrow didn't end up getting hurt, then their season might be on a different trajectory. But still, it kind of hamstrung them from, actually paying Trey Hendrickson what he probably deserves with a long-term deal. It forced them into some weird contract situation with Shamar Stewart, which we haven't talked about at all since. And I'm glad that hasn't really bubbled up to the surface because who cares at the end of the day? He signed the contract. But still, there's a reason they were in those situations. It's because they paid their wide receivers. God damn it.
Yeah, but I think also they might be justified with Trey Hendrickson and it also might be the reason why he got hurt was because he wasn't at training camp. But they're probably justified in it now being like he's been hurt for most of the season, so why would we pay this guy? He's probably gonna walk. As far as George Pickens, you know who his agent is?
Drew Rosenhaus.
Nah, same guy as Micah Parsons.
Oh.
So that'll get interesting. As far as
handshake, Pickens, just George.
No.
Go. That's what his agent is telling him. George, do not. What I repeat, do not just go into Jerry Jones' office, have a one-on-one meeting, and do not shake his hand. No, whatever you do.
George Pickens would show up like what's that old photo of him, like the meme where he got drafted and he's wearing like a ski mask or whatever.
Yeah, the Pooh Shiesty mask where he's sitting there watching himself getting drafted.
What the hell is that? The Pooh Shiesty?
Yeah, that's what it's called. I guess I don't know why. Because of a rapper, I think.
I just like the way it sounds.
Yeah, because of a rapper. I
could see like is it a intimidation tactic where like Jerry's like, all right, George, let's sit down, let's hammer this out, just man to man, and George Pickens just stares at him like, just wearing that Pooh Shiesty mask.
Yeah,
and then he's like, all right, never mind. I can't play the same games as I did with Micah, so we're not going to do that.
It would be great if Scott Boras was his agent. Then Scott Boras can do his. The NFL is not set up in this way where they have like winter meetings or GM meetings where Scott Boras shows up and then touts all his best clients, but he just starts going into pun mode. You ever watched Scott Boras work his way through?
Oh, I have, my friend. He controls everything when it comes to the hot stove for baseball. Yeah.
Yeah. Can you imagine the puns that he would be getting from Pickens?
Well, I can't say I remember him doing a lot of puns, but do people trust him anymore?
He is known for the puns. Like, forget him as like an agent. Like, just from a standpoint of puns. Not like would he get George Pickens the most money if he was his agent in the NFL? No, I'm not talking about that. Purely from a pun standpoint, Derek. Scott Boras would have a field day. I'm just saying. Well, it's Slim Pickens out there, and like that kind of thing.
Okay, does one come to your mind that you could reference
as far as like a Boras
as a Boras pun?
Oh God. Well, even though he's not his even though he's not his client, he was making constant Aaron Judge puns when Judge was a free agent. Like, I'd have to look for one. I can't think of one off the top of my dome.
But
this is the same as like saying a coach should be fired and you don't have anything to back it up.
No. I mean, I'll take your word for it. I just remember him like, is he literally being like, well, when it came to the Judge deal, the Yankees were pounding the gavel to give him the contract.
Right. Something like that. Yeah.
That's insane.
What type of money should he make? I'll let you be the judge of that.
Jesus Christ.
Like I'm telling you, it's nonstop.
Okay, do people trust him anymore? Because I know, is Blake Snell still with Scott Boras?
I believe so, yeah.
Well, remember Corbin Burns? Did he fired him, right? Because he waited a long ass time. Or was it who's the other guy? Montgomery? Somebody fired Boris
Yes.
because they waited a long ass time to get the deal and it didn't turn out the way they wanted.
Yeah, then he went to the Diamondbacks and stunk.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, baseball, dude. That free agency is always weird. Like it'll pick up in the next couple of weeks here, maybe. But unless you're Ohtani or Bryce Harper, any of these big names, it's slow. It's always been slow. Just going back to the Chiefs and Cowboys, just with the Chiefs, same thing with the Lions. I think that NFL fans would rejoice if the Chiefs don't make the postseason, but also feel weird for Patrick Mahomes not to be there. And at this point, I feel like 6-6. They were talking about at the end of the broadcast, Tony Romo and Jim Nantz. They almost have to win out to make the playoffs at this point because they got tiebreakers not going in their favor with the Bills, the Chargers. They'll play them again, and the Jaguars. But yeah, at this point, I think that they would have to win out. I'm not going to say that it's a foregone conclusion they're missing the playoffs, but in this game, it was the offense was fine. Patrick Mahomes with the 4 touchdown passes, but their defense is just not getting to the quarterback like it used to. Chris Jones, and we mentioned a couple weeks ago where he kind of was lackadaisical against Trevor Lawrence, but it might be because he's dealing with a family member passing away. But yeah, this Chiefs team, they're going through a Super Bowl hangover.
I am not going to fall into this trap.
No, you shouldn't. Yeah,
don't do it, Derek.
I'm not.
Don't fall into the Chiefs aren't making the postseason talk. They will. I don't know how, but they're going to find a way.
They always do.
They are like Jurassic Park. The Chiefs find a way. I don't know if that's because the Jaguars might slip at the end of this season, or if the Bills just keep getting worse. The Bills might not make the postseason either. The Texans. I'm just naming any teams that are right now top the AFC. Where else can we look here? Who knows what's going to happen with the Chargers? Chargers probably win. That's probably a foregone conclusion. But
I don't know about that one with their offensive line issues.
You never know. So I am not going to do this. I am not going to try and drink the Chiefs not making the playoffs Kool-Aid. That's poison.
Yeah, I know. I'm with you on that. I just think that it's a topic to be had because they're 6-6 this late in the season. We never seen anything like this before with them.
They're gonna make it, Derek. They're gonna.
No, they probably will. But also, you have to acknowledge that all the teams that I think we were saying were the only contenders in the AFC, and obviously, things change when the season starts. But when we were doing our season predictions, I said that the only teams I consider Super Bowl contenders are the Chiefs, Bills, and Ravens. I think you have to say right now, none of them look like the way they used to be.
Yeah.
I think the Ravens have the best chance because of their division, but I'm not buying them at 6-6 right now. And we'll transition to that. But the Bills, I give the Bills the best chance because at least they're 7-4, but they're probably going to have to be a wild card team. They're not as good as a year ago. Same thing with the Chiefs. So all three of those teams, it's going to be a long road for them to be AFC conference champions, in my opinion. But then again, I'm not buying the Colts. I'm not buying the Patriots.
Right.
I don't know who the hell I'm buying right now. Who else? I'm in the Broncos. Okay. I'll just at this point, everything's just up in the air with the NFL.
Okay. Well, let's just say the season ended today.
Yeah.
All right. This is who you'd be getting.
Which it never does, but we don't play this game.
I do too. This is who you'd be getting in the AFC. And I'm sorry. I know we try to be. Well, I'm a football fan. I don't care. I don't need the Stars to be playing in the playoffs. But you can't tell me that if the season ended today, that the playoffs for the AFC would kind of suck. Here's the first one. You have the Broncos facing the Buffaloes in Denver. The Bills.
Okay.
You have the Broncos facing the Bills in Denver. 2 seed versus the 7.
Okay.
You'd have the Colts versus the Jags. Ugh. And then you'd have the Steelers versus the Chargers.
Okay, that's probably the best one.
Yeah. And then the lowest seed, I can't even do the playoffs from there. I don't know. The lowest seeded team would take on the Patriots.
Yeah, because they
so let's just say, what if the Jaguars end up getting by the Colts and the Colts just have a dud? And let's just say the Bills end up losing to the Broncos. Well, then you'd have a Jaguars and Patriots in the divisional round. Like, you know what I mean? I, as much as I do not want to see the Chiefs in the playoffs, if you're talking about intrigue, you need your stars to be there, man. And everyone thought this is the time for Mahomes and Burrow and Jackson and Allen to be in their Peyton, Flacco, Tom Brady era from their early 2010s or the late 2000s. Everyone thought this was the generation that it was going to be.
I like
Now
that.
what?
I like that you said Flacco there because that's the right call.
Yeah. And you always got to go with those three. They were always late in the postseason. And then whoever was the quarterback of the Steelers, probably Ben Roethlisberger. I guess
Roethlisberger,
you could throw him in there.
Yeah.
But would you rather see those guys or would you have rather seen, I don't know, I can't, Phillip Rivers versus, I don't know.
No, I mean, Phillip Rivers was entertaining too. Like, and I would throw him in
fun.
there. Like, all those quarterbacks from the early 2000s, Brady, Manning, Roethlisberger, Eli Manning, I'll throw in there, Phillip Rivers. There were always, you can always count on them making the playoffs. I still think that those three will make it. But yeah, Steven, of course, it would be less interesting. Like a year ago when the Broncos made it over the Bengals, everybody, it's lame, but every NFL analyst was like, yeah, good for the Broncos, play good defense. Kind of want to see Joe Burrow get in there. And yeah, I don't blame you, but also we were talking about how shitty the Bengals defense was for the majority of the season, and now you're like, well, I want to see him get in. Well, yeah. Of course you do. And like after what you saw Thursday night with Joe Burrow and the Bengals, you wouldn't mind him making the postseason again, but I don't think the Bengals are making the playoffs. No chance,
dude. This is just terrible.
Yeah, it'll change.
My God.
It'll change. Like every year we overreact to what happens Thanksgiving weekend, and things change drastically as we get closer to the playoffs. So I don't think anything that's going on currently is indicative of what we'll have postseason time. Of course,
here we go. What if the Texans leapfrog the Bills, and this is just how it stays? It's intact like this.
No, I don't want that.
Drake May, Bo Nix, Daniel Jones, Aaron Rodgers, Justin Herbert without an offensive line, Trevor Lawrence, who kind of sucks but kind of doesn't, and then CJ Stroud, who everyone counted out, and are probably still going to count out after they lose in the wild card game.
Yeah, no, it would not be as sexy. Like it's clear. Like we all want the quarterbacks. That's what's the biggest intrigue come postseason time. But I still believe, push comes to shove, the Bills, Chiefs, and Ravens, maybe not the Ravens, make the playoffs. The only reason I say that with the Ravens is because with this game, like you look at the schedule, and I'll pull it up here in a second. But when they got back into this thing at 1-5, and they rattled off 5 in a row. I'm trying to look at who the opponents they had real quick. But, yeah, when they faced Joe Burrow for the first time, and Joe Burrow looked great, it's a different deal. So, yeah, they were 1-5 after they got shit-stomped or they lost to the Rams, but I remember them getting just absolutely annihilated by the Texans. And of course, that was without Lamar Jackson. They beat the Bears, and the Bears are a good team right now. Beat the Dolphins. They're struggling. The Vikings, J.J. McCarthy's a mess. The Browns, the Jets, and so that's what got them back to above 500 at 6-5. And then on Thursday night for Thanksgiving, they get their ass kicked by the Bengals because of 5 turnovers.
Yeah,
I don't think that this Ravens team is very good. If they get to the playoffs, it's because their division is just bad, and the Steelers implode down the stretch here. And as we talked about it last podcast, but I have to believe with them, still having to play the Ravens twice, the Lions, and also the Bills coming up this weekend, that it's going to be very hard for the Steelers to make the playoffs. If they get in at 9-8, that may be good enough for them to make the playoffs at this point. But, yeah, Lamar Jackson just looked bad on Thursday night. Everything was high. He was highly inaccurate. The turnovers, 2 touchdowns called back. There was the fumble in the end zone from Isaiah Likely that was recovered. Not to mention the bad call of the offensive pass interference with Zay Flowers. And Joe Burrow looked good. You've got the whole details of him dealing with that turf toe. He had to change his cleat every time he was on the bench, going to more of a orthotic, soft shoe. But he looked good. It's crazy. Like I said earlier, it's crazy how much this team looks differently with him, how they play better defense. And it may have just been that the Ravens were rusty, but even a year ago, the defense didn't look nearly as good as what we saw on Thursday with the Bengals. So I'm not going to overreact and say this is what's going to, the launching point for the Bengals to rattle off some victories and get to the playoffs. Not happening. I don't see that happening at all. But with the Ravens, I still think that there's a chance the Steelers make it because the Ravens just slip up every now and then.
Yeah, well, I think what this game did was serve as a reminder that we've kind of been robbed of some real good football in the AFC North. Like, I don't think Lamar Jackson is fully healthy, even though as much as he says these injuries aren't hindering him. I think he's gone 3 straight games now without a rushing or passing touchdown, which is like in 6 turnovers, which is like the worst stretch of his career. So he's clearly pressing. But the injury is what I think set him back. And obviously what happened with Joe Burrow. Like, I'm not even going to use this as a tool to try and, prognosticate what's going to happen in the playoffs or how this is going to affect seeding in the AFC. Just reminded us that 2 of the great quarterbacks ended up getting hurt this season, and they might not even make the playoffs. And these were 2 teams. Shoot, I mean, I had the Ravens going to the Super Bowl this year just based on the way Lamar Jackson was talking, and then which faulty on my part. And then obviously what happened with Joe Burrow. So yeah, it sucked, really. Like, last night's game, it's fun. It's a Thanksgiving showdown where the tryptophan is really kicking in and you might be kind of falling asleep midway through it. But it just reminded you, like, Lamar Jackson should be better than this. And Joe Burrow, it sucks that he's been out since week 2.
Yeah.
So, like, that's all it did for me. I don't really. The other thing with the Ravens, too, I don't know what usually Jackson's been able to mask the deficiencies of whatever the roster was lacking. I don't know what their wide receiving core is. I don't think Zay Flowers has taken that next step as like a number 1 guy.
No.
Rashad Bateman, I don't know if he's a number 2. So I think, I don't know, moving forward, I don't think Isaiah Likely and Mark Andrews should be your top 2 targets for your quarterback. Like, I think you need to get the wide receivers mixed in there to add just another dimension to the passing game. And Zay Flowers just hasn't really been that guy this year.
No, he hasn't. And most likely Mark Andrews leaves the free agency this upcoming year. But yeah, I think that the Ravens are not as nearly as good as what they were a year ago. Speaking of
that one fucking pass too that Joe Burrow had to Jamar Chase deep downfield, where Jamar's tracking the ball and late hands pushes the cornerback out of the way, and doesn't get called for PI, thankfully, and just makes this unbelievable breadbasket catch where Joe Burrow drops a dime. Like, that's what we've been missing this season, and it sucks.
Not to mention the touchdown pass he threw to Tanner Hudson. That was beautiful. And yeah, as Ernie says in the chat here, running game, meh. I mean, yeah, Lamar's not moving around like he used to. And also Derrick Henry, this is where the decline starts to happen in his, early 30s. So
it should have. It really should have. We were talking about it from that game against the Bills, like he was the next coming of Jesus because of the way he was running the football.
What the hell was that? Jesus.
Trying to spice this podcast up a little bit. It's the morning,
I hear you. Speaking of which, you brought up this was like the tryptophan game for the afternoon, or for you guys. It's so weird watching football. I grew up my whole life, not my whole life, but a good deal of my life in Houston, Texas, and I can't believe I watch games at the 10 a.m. slate was at noon, afternoon slate was at 3 o'clock, kind of like normal setting, I would guess. I'm just so used to waking up early at 10 a.m. watching football and not having football be too late at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. It's not bad. But then here it's at 7 o'clock. The night games really feel like night games. So were you at your place by the time this game kicked off, or were you still making the rounds at Jesse's dad's or your mom's?
I was still at Jesse's dad's.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, we were just chilling, waiting for pie.
Yeah, pie's good.
Just waiting for pie, Derek. That's all.
Yeah, no, I get it.
A little dinner. I think dinner was during the game. Or was dinner? No, dinner was towards the end of Chiefs Cowboys.
That's what we did as well.
And I ended up watching the end of that.
Yes.
But yeah. So I'd say I was just sitting there waiting for pie during this Bengals Ravens game. Although something I missed, which I didn't see. Did you catch any of the Bengals turkey celebration?
A little bit where Joe Burrow, I guess, refused to eat any of it.
I mean, I didn't see that part. It was just chaos, dude. It was
Oh yeah,
chaos
they
nonstop.
brought the whole team, and I guess a long snapper ate the crabs they had there, and I guess he wasn't supposed to, or they weren't cooked fully, and Melissa Stark was like, or not Melissa Stark, sorry, who's the sideline reporter for yeah, here we go.
I don't know who she is, but this isn't a long snapper thing.
Okay, go ahead.
This was the chaos.
Wait, Jamar, turn around to the cameras. How is it?
Ain't that bad.
Jamar, your game ball here. Where's Joseph? Joseph, here's your game ball. Looks amazing. That's a Maryland crab. Joe is asking what the crab is. I'm from Maryland, so no, it's hard shell. You do not bite it. You have to pull the legs off.
That's why.
Natty chili. This is absolute mayhem. Jamar, what was it like to get your quarterback back?
It was incredible. Just like this food. But it's always more work for us to do, so got to get back to it.
Joseph.
Here, this is the one.
Come in here. Were you playing for that turkey leg?
I just, I don't know.
We need some water.
I started eating too soon.
Jesus. Yeah, no. Otis Bird is right. That is Melissa Stark. And yeah, apparently the post game. So yeah, she says you're not supposed to eat through the crab. You're supposed to break the legs off. And I guess the long snapper was like, I just went in there, man. And then Joe Burrow was asked, "What'd you think of the turkey?" And he goes, "I'm gonna be honest, I didn't have any. I don't eat food that I don't know how it's cooked or prepared. So I did not eat that turkey."
Yeah, I mean, every single time they eat it, they start looking like Clark Griswold in Christmas Vacation, where they're just trying to eat this dry, burnt turkey that's been sitting out for hours.
Well, that one was ridiculously dry.
Yes, it was. It was as dry, but seriously, they all come out,
yeah,
smacking their food because they can't eat it any other way.
Yeah, I mean, that's always a thing. And, we remember a couple years ago, I think the 49ers may have had the best turkey when they beat the Seahawks a couple years ago. And George Kittle, he brought the turkey back to the locker room. But remember, Nick Bosa was just like, I'm not going to eat that, man. I don't eat carbs. It's like, it's not carbs, Nick. It's not carbs. But most of the time, I always hear football players complain about the quality of the turkey when they do these post-game things.
You say what?
The football players usually complain about the quality of the turkey.
Sorry, broke up at least in my head, in my speakers. Yeah, it's dry. Like, and I get where Burrow's coming from, where it's like, I don't know how that was prepared. I'm not going to eat that thing, but I think they would give you at least a little bit of a warning. I don't know. What do we got next time? What do we got next time on Netflix Christmas Day? What do we got? The Is It Cake? We're going to have a red velvet football.
Oh, yeah, dude. I remember that. Yeah, that was awkward.
Yeah, hopefully.
Where Lamar and Derrick Henry just refused to eat that.
Yeah, where they really tried.
I'm not touching that.
Where they really try to make like a halftime thing work. By the way, we didn't even talk about it
with Beyonce. Yeah.
Yeah, but like I'm talking about, excuse me, the post game thing, not the halftime thing. The post
with Jamie Iredall, she was like, "Come on, guys, it's a football. We spent a lot of time on this red velvet cake," and they're like, "No, thank you."
Yeah. Seriously, like you're not going to feed football players cake. But we didn't talk about this with the Packers and Lions.
Great performance.
Jack White and Eminem, dude.
Yeah, that was
God.
Awesome.
Like that's the thing with Super Bowl halftime shows for me. I don't like the fact that it's taking on a new life with this medley business where they play like 10 songs and only like 30-second increments to a minute of that song, maybe 2 at most.
And also, you're just 100% against Bad Bunny doing the halftime show. I get
totally against it. The hell, man. But also, I'm going to. This comes off as a little music snob, and I say this from a purely music standpoint.
Okay,
but there's a reason why there's a genre of music called arena rock and roll. Like rock was meant to be played in an arena. I think that music translates better to an in-stadium halftime show rather than anything else. Just inherently with the guitar, with the singing, you don't need all these crazy backup dancers to do an insane light show with all these hidden meanings. Like I'm calling out Kendrick a little bit, but a lot of Kendrick's show, it was less about Kendrick and more about everything else with Kendrick, where it's just like, ooh, yeah. Like, I don't remember anything about the songs, but I do remember him, you were there with us when he called out Drake and Serena Williams dancing and all that. But, like when you're thinking Prince, you're thinking, oh my God, when he sang Purple Rain, like that kind of thing. I just think that that music just translates so much better to these types of events. And I'm not saying that I'd rather have Creed over Bad Bunny, which some do just because of that one Cowboys Thanksgiving halftime show that got shared, even though it's ironic. Like, I'm sorry, but the Creed love's ironic now. They're really taking advantage of it. I respect them for that, but Creed's not that good of a band.
Steven, bite your tongue.
It's ironic the way people.
I will not tolerate any Creed hate, but I understand what you're saying. I'll also say
electric, man.
Yeah, no, of course. Creed is just pure nostalgia. Like when I ever go to a Creed concert, like we've joked about that in our group chat with our friends, but no, I'm not going to that.
Yeah.
It's a little too much for me with what that band's all about. But they have bangers. They have songs that were popular when we were kids. But yes, the halftime show for the 2001 Cowboys game where the bald guy's flying through the air. Like people reshare that because they think it's it's gotten more viral as the years gone on.
Because it's funny.
It is funny. But like, was it the best halftime performance of all time? According to Kyle Brandt, you're damn right it was. But like, no, of course not.
We love irony. We are obsessed with irony now.
Yes.
Like we only have the only reason, no offense to this kid, but the only reason that the Rizzler kid is really popular is because it's ironic. It's just hey, you're laughing at this.
Just say it. He's a fat ass kid that we all love to the point to point and laugh at. It's the truth.
It's the harsh reality of it.
And he's okay with it. It's not like he has any skill. It's not like he's a great rapper or anything. It's just like
does this.
Look at this pudgy kid rhyming right now.
Yeah,
make him part of the halftime show.
We love it. So I think the Jack White thing was just a solid reminder that we can appreciate something just for what it is instead of like the message that it's trying to send or sticking it to other people who thought that this is not what the halftime show should have been. Like I just you could focus on it purely for the music, and I like it. And I'm not saying anything against Bad Bunny's halftime show. I'm interested to see what's going to happen, but I just think that with that specific type of music, Jack White's, it's meant for that type of stage right there. Like what's better than the most popular chant, I'd say, in the history of sports, and having the actual creator of that playing that song. And I'm talking about Seven Nation Army.
Yeah. That's the most popular chant in sports history, you think?
Oh, dude, it's global. It's used around soccer matches. It's used around the world. Just everyone knows it.
Yeah. Okay.
Everyone knows that.
Okay.
Although Ernie, I am interested. Ernie too here. The horns, Steven. The horns. Yes. The horns on Valle Avoidable, or however you pronounce it. The horns on that song, when he performs that at Super Bowl halftime show, I'm interested to see how the horns are used. Gonna get horny.
Damn right we are. It's more this.
I can picture your dad saying that, like the day after the Super Bowl on the air.
Bad Bunny got me horny. And then Greg Silver's like, well, okay. But it was a great game, Greg. But yeah, it's more the spectacle of it as opposed to the performance. I got chills when I saw Jack White perform, and then Eminem showed up. And I was like, dude, Hello Operator is one of my favorite White Stripes songs, and to use that as like the beat for Eminem to rap over Till I Collapse, just a good mashup. And then like, I don't know, I was watching the Post Malone performance with my mom, and I was like, when did Post Malone become a country guy? And I know he has, but like, I don't know, just I never been a fan. He's talented, just not my cup of tea though.
Yeah, well, that's also a situation where kind of the hip hop gatekeepers, the music gatekeepers, they don't like that he kind of used hip hop as a vessel to get popular and then became a country artist because just based off his name alone. Like as a singer, He's not very talented. Like if he was coming up as a country artist, I don't think he'd be anywhere near as popular as he is now had he not made hip hop first. I'd like to think that was just the nature of him as an artist, and he was interested in making something and then kind of went back to his country roots because he's from Dallas. But I do get the other side of the argument. Like I do understand the people who think he kind of used hip hop and rap, which is a historically black genre of music, and then using that to jumpstart a country career when the country music's just not all that great.
Yeah, but aren't a lot of people doing that? Like, isn't Machine Gun Kelly more of a country guy now?
Well, no, he's more of like a punk guy now. But yeah,
oh, punk guy. Okay,
no, it's again, it's a very, I think it's more of a, I'd say, in-depth conversation that's had within music circles. Like I'm kind of just, giving you the surface level stuff of it. Like it goes much deeper than that, and I'm sure there's plenty of other examples that people could think of.
Right, but like, are people thinking that same thing with like Beyonce now, like doing country music?
I mean, see, I don't know.
That's a whole nother thing in itself.
Yeah.
I just know that nothing was as good as Dolly Parton a couple years ago, and not the performance itself, but just Tony Romo being a horn dog for it. I was like, oh, Jim, you see Dolly out there? She was amazing. Yeah, Tony. So the second half for the Cowboys. Yeah, I mean, John, Dolly, she's just, whew, get your engine going, huh? Anyway, sorry, what are you talking about?
I mean, he was with Jessica Simpson,
Yeah.
Country Blonde.
Oh, that's his type. Yeah, you are right. Doesn't matter the age. All right, last game here, Steven. The Eagles and the Bears. Bears run all over the Eagles for 281 yards because of Kyle Manungai and DeAndre Swift rushing for 125 yards, both of them. I think one of them got 130. That might have been DeAndre. But in the playoffs, the key to winning is to playing good defense and running the football, and that's what the Bears have right now. I'm not going to say that Caleb Williams had an amazing performance yesterday, but he definitely, was more of a game manager. And again, I don't think that's a negative thing. I think that's a thing that people bring up when a guy just, hands the ball off and gets first downs, but doesn't do anything special. That was Caleb Williams yesterday. And I know that the weather was really windy, but it's, if they win the division and they have a home playoff game, Caleb Williams is going to have to make throws in the wind. But besides all that, it just shows, like a year ago, I remember watching this team on Christmas Day against the Seahawks, or maybe it was the day after Christmas, where the offense was just terrible. It's a terrible game. They couldn't do anything, and Caleb Williams getting his ass kicked the entire time. And then Ben Johnson comes in and realizes we have to go and make trades for offensive linemen, and the offense is 10 times better. And they knew that they had a favorable matchup just running at this Eagles defense inside. And yes, the Eagles defense is good, but with linebackers like Nakobe Dean and Zach Bond, if you have a powerful running game, you can run right over them. And also, like, they just found leverage on the edge where, Kyle Manungai or DeAndre Swift was going at these outside linebackers, and they were able to run right through them. Same thing with Caleb Williams doing like play action bootlegs. So give kudos to the Bears for winning this game. I'll talk about the Eagles in a second here, but the Eagles are just a mess, absolute mess.
Yeah, well, I just think it was all about the run game, man.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned it earlier. There's not really much more to it. I mean, I didn't even look at Caleb Williams' quarterback rating until now, or his passer rating.
Mm-hmm.
It was 58.
Yeah,
like passer ratings are passer ratings, but when they're extremely low like that kind of shows you what kind of game they had. It was whatever, but it's pretty clear that I think the star of Chicago, like when Caleb Williams was selected first overall, okay, this is going to be the best quarterback we've had since Jim McMahon or even Rex Grossman. Like, this guy is going to be the star in Chicago. Ben Johnson's kind of the star in Chicago right now.
Yes, he is.
Like, if you're going to attribute what the Bears have done this season, I think it would be much more on the side of Ben rather than the side of Caleb.
No, he's making him a better quarterback, no doubt. But yeah, it's
not even just the fact that he's making him a better quarterback, though. He's just leveled this team up to a point where they're just playing with so much conviction right now. Like, this isn't even just the run game we're talking about. We're talking about DeAndre Swift.
Yeah.
who really has not found his footing really on a specific team, because I don't know whether it's against the Lions or previously with the Eagles. For whatever reason, it's just because he hasn't been that great. But Ben Johnson has just completely changed him. And yesterday, he's looking like one of the best running backs in the like. I had the Prime Vision on, and I think one thing the Prime Vision, the alternate telecast, does really well is it doesn't necessarily highlight the quarterback, which is what the regular NFL view does. I think it really puts a spotlight on what the quarterback is doing. But when you're in the all 22, you really get an appreciation for what the entire offense is doing. And the Bears offensive line was just controlling the line of scrimmage, and DeAndre Swift's vision, man. Like when you're lining up with on the strong side with 2 tight ends, potentially even 3, and then you completely motion those guys to one side, and then you turn it to the weak side, and DeAndre Swift just counters and goes off for like a 19-20 yard run. My God, man. It's really fun to watch in Chicago. And the point being is that it's just all of this was made with Ben Johnson in mind. And I think what he's done is just, I don't know, man. It's remarkable. It really is.
No, it's showing how he's going to be one of these great play callers in the NFL, like Kyle Shanahan, like Matt LaFleur, like Sean McVay, like all these guys, where he just changes an offense. He has that ability. Like he should be in contention for Coach of the Year. Maybe after this game, he leapfrogs Shane Steichen or Mike Vrabel. But you just see, like, a year ago how bad they were offensively. Like a year ago, we were talking about Matt Eberflus getting fired because he didn't know how to manage the end of a game in Detroit where they couldn't get the field goal team out there, and how bad the offense was. Every week it was terrible for Caleb Williams getting sacked.
Yeah.
And yes, the offensive line changed that, but they just look like they know what the hell they're doing now, which is why for Raider fans it's painful because, I mean, Ben Johnson, who's to say, like, yes, the personnel is different. There's definitely more talent on the Bears right now, but he could have made this offense look a little bit better. So, yeah, I think Caleb Williams, it's kind of the same thing with Trevor Lawrence. He's not playing as bad as Trevor Lawrence right now, but as he gets more acclimated to this offense, he'll be better. But right now it's the benefit of the running game. It's the benefit of Ben Johnson just knowing how to scheme it up. So he's made a huge difference in Chicago. As far as the Eagles,
well, hang on, one real quick, one thing real quick. I think is going to catch on, because I believe it's what's Kyle Monangai.
Yeah, Kyle Monangai.
Yeah, the rookie. I think something you're going to see catching on here is what this guy's done. Let me get the volume up. All right, here we go.
Boys in the heads on again. Here down Chicago. Kyle Monangai with the Bears first down.
It's not bad. It's not bad. I didn't even think about that. It's not bad. As far as the Eagles, I just said they're a mess. They're still 8-4, so maybe that's a little hyperbolic. But
they are.
Well, offensively they are. Like I said yesterday while I was watching the game, like even though Dan Campbell is a little too reckless for my liking, the fact that he could pick up a play sheet and take over, like that's a good skill to have as a head coach.
Sure.
Nick Sirianni has that in his background. He was an offensive play caller at one point. Now he just acquiesced to Kevin Patullo, and even when the offense is sputtering, he's just like, whatever, he'll figure it out. Like, no, dude, like if the offense sucks, like take over as head coach. Doesn't mean that Patullo needs to be fired or have his play calling duties taken away from him. But if you're seeing struggles like that, then you take over as the head coach. Regardless, it's just something that I'm going to nitpick. But Jalen Hurts is struggling, and Saquon Barkley is struggling, and it is because of the offensive line. They're not getting enough push. But everything with Saquon, as soon as that first defender gets him, that's it. He has no open lanes. When there's holes, he still gets through it, but he's just not that same guy that has that burst that we saw a year ago. And it may be because he's just run down from rushing for 2,000 yards. But Jalen Hurts, I know that they were throwing in the wind. He's just highly inaccurate. There was one point where Devontae Smith was on a linebacker, and he should have beat him for a significant gain. And in the end, it's an inaccurate ball, so it's incomplete, where you had it was schemed up perfectly. Maybe it is because Kevin Patullo has everything going right, that it's not his fault. That's why Nick Sirianni's not changing things up. Maybe it is Jalen Hurts right now. You hear all these reports that the offensive side of the ball is just kind of fed up with him. And the truth is, even though he was Super Bowl MVP, Jalen Hurts has not played consistently as well as he did 3 years ago when it was the 2022 maybe MVP season had he stayed healthy. But he doesn't move as well in the pocket. He doesn't run as well as he used to. Yeah, I think that right now, I brought this up to you last podcast. I think you could say that both Jalen Hurts and Saquon are holding the offense back. And just real quick, A.J. Brown the last 2 weeks, 18 catches, 242 yards, 3 touchdowns. But they're 0-2. So, you can't have it both ways where you want great stats and lose and have no stats and win. So there has to be a happy medium there.
Well, he doesn't care.
Of course he doesn't.
He's kind of made that pretty clear that he's thank you so much for the Super Bowl ring.
Yep.
But I want my stats. So you're getting them. I also think the offensive line, if you go and look at like the stats for how they evaluate offensive linemen, Jordan Mailata has taken a step back. Obviously they got Lane Johnson hurt right now with Liz Frank. You have everyone else along that starting offensive line, but it just hasn't been as good. It's been kind of the same drop off that we saw from the 2024 Colts offensive line, where you're like, man, this is, I mean, the year before, you're like, God, this is the new Eagles. This is going to be the one that's the best in the NFL for years to come. And then they kind of just took a step back.
Yeah.
They're probably in that situation right now. Like Jordan Mailata is not very old. I think he's like 26 or 27 right now. Lane Johnson's getting up there, but Landon Dickerson and Cam Jurgens, like they should be better than what they are. And there's a little bit of that with Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley not helping things. So it's just a mess. They're playing like uncomplimentary football. What do you want to call that? What's the opposite of complimentary football? We talk about complimentary football so much.
Disjointed?
What's that? Disjointed? Just disjointed football. Yeah. The offensive line kind of stinks. Their top 2 players in the quarterback and the running back aren't playing very well. One guy really wants the football but doesn't care about winning. Yeah, not exactly a recipe for a winning organization.
No, definitely not. But, people are comparing this to 2023 when they were, I think, 10-1, and then things just went, bad really fast.
After the loss to the 49ers.
Exactly. But we're not even at that point yet. Like, I would say there's still time for the Eagles to rectify this because these issues have popped up way earlier than what they were in 2023.
Sure.
But then again, I don't know if this team, when things go bad, if they have the group to overcome that. Like they're very talented, and when things are humming, they're hard to beat. When things are negative, I don't know if they have that Jason Kelce anymore or that Fletcher Cox to be like, guys, this is what needs to change right now. So, and as you said, Lane Johnson's hurt, and he may be that one guy. So, I don't know. I think that you're starting to see that they're not, kind of the same deal with a lot of the AFC teams. That this Eagles team probably is going to make the playoffs. Yeah, of course they are. Probably going to win the division in the NFC East. But when it comes to the other teams, and maybe just one other team, maybe the Rams do have the edge on them right now. Even though the Eagles beat them earlier this year. But if the Rams are able to lock up the 1 seed, I just think that they're just a more solid team.
Sure.
So at this point, I would say the Eagles, they look like they're in trouble. They're probably still, they're going to make the playoffs. It's just that it's probably not going to be a repeat season. That's what happens sometimes when you Super Bowl. You have a hangover, and all of the things that were a problem 2 years ago go away last year, and you win the Super Bowl. And then this year, they're coming back to whatever, to show its ugly head or whatever the term is. But yeah.
All right. Well, taking a look at the NFC though, like I think we could agree, as we've said before. I mean, maybe the Lions are mixed in there, but this is a very real possibility. This is the playoff field. I don't know if it's going to be the same with the NFC North. You might be able to switch like the Bears and Packers. Obviously the 49ers, if they get a win on Sunday, that would be huge going into the bye week and what it would do for their seeding, but you could very well see it as it lies right here. maybe the Bears are below the Eagles, and you could see the Eagles as the 2 seed. I think a lot of that is contingent on what they do in the last 3 weeks of the season when they have the Commanders twice. But look, I'm not mad at this. Like Bears versus Niners in the first round, and we're already going to see them at the end of December. Eagles versus Packers, then Buccaneers versus Seahawks, and then obviously the Rams have a bye, and the lowest seeded team would move on. I mean, shoot. Would you take the 49ers over the Bears over the Bears at this current time? And would you think that we'd see a 49ers and Rams in the divisional?
I mean, that'd be interesting. I think that I saw Otis Bird said earlier in the chat that Week 17 game is going to be pivotal with the 49ers and Bears. I think yesterday showed you, I don't know if they're going to be contenders with the Bears, but I do think they're legitimately going to, I mean, they're yesterday showed how legitimate they could be to be a playoff team. And most likely they will be. But yeah, for them going into Philadelphia and winning that game, I think that you have to be very wary about the 49ers' chances of that defense slowing them down, especially that run game. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's a foregone conclusion the 49ers make the postseason with all these teams that are on the bubble, like the Lions, and who else is on the outside looking in as far as the NFC. But
Cowboys.
Cowboys,
Panthers.
The Bears yesterday, the Bears with that significant win kind of makes you raise your eyebrow, being like, okay, we'll see where the 49ers are in a couple weeks because they got to play the Colts. Even this weekend against the Cleveland Browns might be a tough outing. It will be with the weather. And as AJ Cruz says here, they haven't won a game in Cleveland since 1984, but that's misleading. They don't play each other that often. And
also, like, doesn't that give you a little more hope that they'd win? Like in saying that, God, they're finally due. Like when the Panthers when the Panthers won the coin toss on Monday night, I thought, all right, Panthers are losing because they were 6-0 with the when they win 0-5 when they lose. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, but that's just a coincidence. And the whole no win since Cleveland, like I get it. Like I totally get where 82's coming from. Obviously, like no win in Cleveland since 1984. Whether they play each other that much or not, that's still a really, really long time.
Yeah, no, of course.
And also, I think the comment that he made prior to that, Purdy with the moist/wet balls is a problem.
100% it is. Before we transition to picks and something interesting that Tom Pelissero said.
He said something interesting?
Yeah, a little when it comes to the Raiders.
To
the 2-point conversion, the attempt.
Do
you like it when teams do it like on like a little earlier than expected? Like conventionally it was always do the 2-point conversion when you get tie up the game. But now I guess the analytics show you're going to have less stress or anxiety or pressure, I should say, when you do the 2-point conversion on the first touchdown you score. So yesterday, the Eagles are down 24-9. They score to make it 24-15. They go for the 2-point conversion to attempt to make it 24-17 and miss it. At that point, the game's kind of in hand when you're down 9 and it's a 2-possession game. But had they made the conversion, you would have been down by 7 and still in it. But some people are arguing, why not kick the extra point to be down 24-16, only 8, still 1 possession to keep yourself in the game? I understand why some coaches do it, but I'm not a fan of that whole mentality. I still think that when your offense is struggling to get anything going, you should save that 2-point conversion when you absolutely need it.
I agree. But I think in Sirianni's situation, it was I don't trust Jake Elliott right now.
Well, with the wind?
Yeah, he already missed an extra point earlier.
Yeah, he did. That's a good point.
So I think that was purely where it stands. Not from we're trying to win the game. It's just I don't trust this specific player right now. I have more faith in our offense to get 2 points rather than the kicker.
Yeah. I also say that I think this game flipped. The Eagles had a lot of momentum after the Jackson Hunt interception.
Jalix,
that Caleb Williams threw. And then they fumbled on the tush push. And at that point, I was like, all right, they just lost all momentum. If they would have scored on that drive, I think it was 10-9, then maybe it would have been a different story. Okay, let's talk about Tom Pelissero real quick. We talked about Chip Kelly getting fired. He had a very interesting thing to say on Rich Eisen's show. You have the clip, Steven?
I don't. Hang on. Ooh.
All good.
Pull up dude.
Tom Pelissero went on the show and gave details as to why Chip Kelly was fired. And, the obvious thing is the offense just sucks. The offense has been shitty for most of the season. But then he gave details about how play calls were designed and how they were, said to Geno Smith in the huddle. So this is what Tom Pelissero had to say about why Chip Kelly was let go.
About just the dysfunction of the Raiders offense. There were times I was told where Chip Kelly was repeatedly botching the play calls, where he's supposed to be, for instance, tagging a motion on a play so the receiver's on the left, not the right. He forgets to say it. So Geno Smith is going to the line of scrimmage and going, this doesn't look right, and they're trying to run a play. It happened on a third down in the game the other day. There's times where Chip, I was told on several occasions, called a play that was either not in the game plan or not installed at all. Things like that happen. You're not productive. That's enough. You didn't need any extra excuses.
Damn.
But there were a lot of things that were popping up with about
Jesus, damn.
Damn.
If that's the case, that is appalling.
Yeah, it is.
To bring up plays that are not even installed. Are you going back to your Ohio State playbook? Like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
That's insane.
How did Pete Carroll let this happen?
Yeah, if this happened for numerous weeks, then that's on Pete. Like, you can't have an offensive play caller. At that point, you don't want to look stupid. You don't want to look foolish because you made the guy the highest paid coordinator on the football. It seems like Chip Kelly was selling Pete a bill of goods, like just taking one over on him. Like, I respect Pete. He's a 73-year-old coach. He's won multiple Super Bowls, but if he wants me, he's going to have to overpay for me. And he did. And then Chip Kelly, I guess, just, I don't want to say like was, mailing it in, but everything you see this offseason with Jackson Powers Johnson not being, not getting playing time, him wanting to change Aston Genty's stance.
Right.
It seems to me like Chip Kelly, the arrogance that he has from college football translated to the NFL, and he thought that he could have just used the same stuff that was working with Oregon, or more so Ohio State with a more conventional, professional offense.
Yeah.
But it seems to me like Chip Kelly was just, just unprepared to be an offensive coordinator in the NFL. Yeah. And also for the fact that Tom Pelissero got this information tells me, you and I were texting about this. Why would he know this? This is very detailed stuff. We're not talking about like how GMs think about a player or how coaches think about a player or a trade on the horizon. For Tom Pelissero to get this detailed stuff in game, it must be where this was vocal in the locker room, where offensive players were so pissed off that agents found out about this and then relayed this to Tom Pelissero.
To me, it's almost a concerted effort to kind of put the offensive struggles blame on Chip.
Yeah.
And I think like this next game is going to be very telling. Like I'm not going to, I'll put some stock into this, but it feels like we are searching for this as the only reason why like the Raiders have been awful offensively. Like, no, their quarterback is stunk. They don't really have any good wide receivers, and they have their star running back and they haven't been able to make anything of it. Maybe that explains the struggles of the offensive line where they just didn't know what they were doing. But to me, this is totally calculated. Like, this is a way to get it out there. Like, look, our offensive coordinator sucked. So this puts a lot of pressure on them next year or this next game. Like, I'm not saying they're going to win. Like, the Chargers defense is really good, right? I think they've given up like 21 points a game, which is just ahead of the 49ers. And they're up there giving, I think, like sub 300 yards total per game. But they're one of the better defenses in the league. You'd probably call it a top 10, arguably top 8 defense. But if the Raiders just don't even show anything competitive, if they still show their ineptitude, then I'm going to think it goes much deeper than the Chip Kelly. And I'm going to look at this and just think, okay, well, it's just an agent trying to get this out there. I mean, maybe it did happen, but I wonder if this is like a report where a team is trying to tell someone within NFL media, hey, we're going to be better off. Just to let you know, this is what happened with the offensive coordinator. Like, he was that bad. So I think there's a couple of layers to this.
There could be. I don't think anybody would make up a story like this, but
No, I'm not saying they just make it up, but I'm just saying like maybe this was like problem number 1 on the list of 100 reasons why the Raiders offense stinks.
oh yeah, I mean, if they still have the same issues, it's primarily personnel, and I still think it is.
Yeah.
But it also shows how Chip Kelly probably was not probably he definitely was the wrong choice to be offensive coordinator.
That's also it. It pissed me off. It really did. Like, this is what we were stuck with. This is what everyone was so excited about. Pete Carroll bringing on Chip Kelly. This Raiders team is going to be the most improved that we've seen this season. And instead, you get a guy who doesn't even call out the same plays in the playbook. Has the offense completely out of sync. You kidding me?
I think it shows that Chip Kelly,
me? Like, God damn it. Why? Why?
he's painted as this innovative offensive mind in college football. And for a while he was, the way that Oregon played. But also, I mean, I think the Eagles players found him out to be a joke. Same thing with the 49ers. So when it was announced that he was going to be offensive coordinator for the Raiders, I wasn't surprised. I thought the college connection with Pete and Chip, I don't know, maybe would translate. Maybe Chip changed, but he didn't. It's the same thing with Josh McDaniels. You got just an arrogant play caller that knew that his way was better than everybody else and just doesn't really fit in the NFL. He doesn't really fit in college football either. He, resigned from UCLA to be the Ohio State head offensive coordinator because he didn't like NIL stuff, and he begged the Commanders to make him the offensive coordinator for them, and they said no. So I don't know what was a better option. I know that a lot of people link Darrell Bevell to Pete Carroll because of their days in Seattle, but I don't know if that would have been a good option. It probably would have been a boring option. I think that we always look for the intriguing, like, ooh, that's interesting. Chip Kelly coming back to the NFL as the offensive coordinator for the Raiders. He always wanted Geno Smith. He recruited him. That's interesting. But it was the same old thing. Same old, and we'll see. I would assume that there's a little more juice to the offense. I think, like I said, like there's always the dead cat bounce mentality of when you fire a coach and then the players play a little bit harder because they know their asses are on the line. But I think it'll be short-lived. I think the Chargers are just the better team. Which brings us to little wins or wangs when it comes to Week 13 in the NFL with our picks. Good timing, Steven. All right. You got way more points than me from your Cowboys pick on Thanksgiving Day. So you're up 4-1 on me. I got no games right.
The Cowboys?
No, I picked the Chiefs.
Oh.
I got every single game wrong. I think I only got the over right or the under right in one of these games. And I did, yes. So I only got 1 point. All right, let's start with a thrilling game. The New Orleans Saints take on the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins are 5.5-point favorites. Over under 41.5.
Weigh the points with Dolphins. Take the over.
I'm going to take the under, but I'm taking the Dolphins to win the game and lay the points. Then we got the Falcons taking on the New York Jets. Falcons are 2.5-point favorites. Over and under 39.5.
Dad, lay the points with the Falcons and give me the under.
I'm doing the exact same thing. Kirk Cousins the rest of the way, but yeah, the Falcons should win this game. Jets, Tyrod Taylor, just not a ton of offense, so yeah, give me the under on 39.5. Then we got the Arizona Cardinals taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It sounds like Baker Mayfield's good to go, despite hurting his shoulder in agonizing pain on Sunday Night Football a week ago. Bucks are 4.5-point favorites. Over under 44.5.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Cardinals to win. I just don't think Baker's going to be 100%. So I'm going to take the Cardinals to win, even that's against my better judgment, I know. But I don't think Jacoby Brissett has been terrible.
No, not at all.
So yeah, against my better judgment, I'm going to take the Cardinals to win, and I'll take the under.
I'm taking the over, and yeah, you make a compelling argument there with Baker Mayfield. I don't know if he's going to be 100%. Probably not. Most likely, no. But I'm going to take them to win. They need to get off the schneid here. They need to get a little more, a little more gap between them and the Carolina Panthers in the NFC South. So give me the Buccaneers, lay the points. I'm going over on the 44.5. Then we got the Jacksonville Jaguars taking on the Tennessee Titans. The Jags are 6-point favorites. Over under 41.5.
I'll lay the points with the Jaguars, and I'll just take the over.
I'm going with the Jags, laying the points, but I'm going under. I just think that Trevor Lawrence has struggled a bit this season, but good enough to win games. And yeah, I think the Jags defense gets to Cam Ward. Then we got the 49ers taking on the Cleveland Browns. The 49ers are 4.5-point favorites, over under 36.5. Shedeur Sanders gets his second consecutive start.
In a weird way, I'm sorry, but like I really don't trust Brock Purdy right now. Like, I could see the Browns defense just winning this in the cold. So I'm actually going to go with the Browns to win, and I'll take the under.
I can't fault you for that, Steven. But I think...
I mean, I hate to say it, but
No.
I
mean,
really,
you don't have to.
Looking at this defensive line, I don't know. Maybe it's just was just completely fooled by everything that I heard with press conferences going into the week, where Brock Purdy's like, "Yeah, I might struggle a little bit in conditions, like I can't grip it and blah blah blah." He's just not good in these games, and everyone's like, "Well, he's okay at Iowa State." Well, he only played in like 4 games in rainy weather at Iowa State, so it's not that much of a sample size, and the sample size that we have in the NFL is not good. So just for that alone, I'm sorry.
No, do not apologize for having an opinion and picking a game here. I'm kind of with you, but I just can't see it happening.
Yeah.
So I think the Niners get a little bit of offense to win this game. Give me the Niners. I'll have the Browns covering the 4.5. Definitely taking the under. If it was a better quarterback, and I know people are like, well, Shedeur Sanders played great. Let's see how he is in the elements as well. And I don't think the Niners defense will be all over him, but the inexperience of Shedeur, it could be that case where Robert Saleh schemes it up. I'll say this just real quick with all the things that were mentioned this week about Shedeur. Anyone having an issue with him, being cocky or arrogant in some words after the game, he's allowed to act that way. He got his first win. Let the kid be happy that he, had his first success in the NFL. I don't think it's cocky. I don't think it's arrogance. It's the same thing that Baker Mayfield had when he was Cleveland Browns quarterback. I will say, everyone going after Kevin Stefanski because he wasn't overjoyed. When in the post-game celebration of giving him the game ball or anything. Did anybody happen to see how he reacted when Dylan Gabriel got his first victory? I think it's about the same. So anybody out there saying that Kevin Stefanski's out to get Shedeur Sanders, I think that's just a stupid take. I think it's also a stupid take to say that Shedeur Sanders is just cocky and arrogant after his first win. He's allowed to be that way.
He was also I think, kind of tongue-in-cheek about it. Something I've realized, maybe this is why a lot of coaches didn't like the meetings too much, was because he's not a very serious guy. And that's fine. It's just not who he is. But I think people were taking him a little too seriously about the practice thing. I think he was trying to be more funny. Yeah. And then it came off as cocky to some people. And the reason that I just put down the music is because we're going to go to the Sanders Thanksgiving table where his brother Shiloh is trying to get a spot on the team.
Please allow Shedeur to do his best so he could pull some strings and get me on the Browns too. And please make number 21 available somehow. But
what is this reward? In the franchise there. 21 gold, bro.
Well, never mind. 28 will do. Thank you very much, Lord. And
I mean, it's funny, but maybe you shouldn't have, punched a player in the head during the preseason.
Not to mention, that's just kind of cringy to post, but also I'll say Shedeur sounds like his dad right there. Oh, come on, man. 21's a franchise play. You can't be having that. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Devin Hester's my baby. Next game. Houston Texans taking on the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts are 3.5-point favorites, over under 44.5.
Yeah, I'll lay the points with the Colts, and I'll take the under though.
I'm taking the over. CJ Stroud's back, and I think that 3.5's tough. And also, you see Daniel Jones is playing with a broken fibula, but just going to power through.
Oh, no, I didn't.
Interesting. Yeah, Colts need to win this game if they're going to pull away in the division. So give me the Colts, lay the points, going over on the 44.5. Rams taking on the Carolina Panthers. Rams 10.5-point favorites, over under 45.
I think Carolina can cover that. So I'm going to take the home dogs. I'll get Carolina to cover, but I'll have the Rams winning. And I just think it's irresponsible to take any under game with the way this Rams offense has been playing. So give me the over.
I agree wholeheartedly. I think that it's a big spread, and I think that the Rams have something to prove after their just terrible performance against the 49ers. But yeah, Rams should win this game. Give me Carolina to cover the 10.5, going over with that offense.
You mean the Panthers have something to prove? You said the Rams.
Yeah. Sorry, Panthers have something to prove. The Raiders taking on the Chargers. They have something to prove as well, that being the Raiders. The Chargers are favored by 9.5, over under 40.5.
Lay the points with the Chargers, and I'll take the over.
I'm taking the over as well. I'll take the Raiders to cover. I think Raiders basically having a home game in LA, maybe get some home cooking there as far as just the fans. But yeah, Chargers win, Raiders cover. Give me the over.
Yeah, this Raiders team has proven they play really good in front of a home crowd.
Yeah, true. Then we got the Minnesota Vikings taking on the Seattle Seahawks. J.J. McCarthy's not playing in this game. It is the backup quarterback, and his name's escaping me at the moment, so I'll get that in a second.
Isn't it Jake Broman or something?
Yeah, Jake Broman, something like that, or Max Broman, something like that. The Seahawks are 11.5-point favorites, over under 41.
Lay the points with the Seahawks, then I'll just take the over.
I'm taking the under, and I'm taking the Vikings to cover. I'll take Seattle to win, but this is a game where the defense needs to step up for the Vikings, and the familiarity that Brian Flores has with Sam Darnold, I think, could lead to some turnovers, but the Seattle Seahawks win the game. So give me the Seahawks, Vikings cover, but give me the under. And I'll get the guy's name in here in a second. Buffalo takes...
That's okay, Derek. You don't have to. You're fine.
I'm curious to know what his name is.
Okay.
I want to know who's playing.
Okay.
The Bills take on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Aaron Rodgers is back. Bills 3-point favorites, over under 45.5.
Max Brosmer.
There you go.
Max Brosmer. Okay. Anyway, the
Bills taking on the Steelers. Bills favored by 3, over under 45.5.
Oh God. I'm inclined to. Lay the points with the Bills and give me the under.
I'm going over, and I'm taking the Bills to win. They need a rebound. Yeah, I think Aaron Rodgers comes back, gives a little offense to the Steelers, but the Bills should be the better team. This may be more of a high-scoring game because both defenses are not playing well at the moment. Then we got Sunday Night Football. The Broncos are taking on the Commanders. Broncos are 5.5-point favorites, over under 43.5. Still Marcus Mariota at QB for the Commanders.
Yeah, in that case, I'm going to lay the points with the Broncos, but I'll take the under as well. Taking a lot of unders.
I'm taking the over because I think the Commanders' defense is pretty bad. Give me the Broncos, lay the points. And then Jackson Dart's back for the Giants as they take on the Patriots. 7.5-point favorites for the Patriots, over under 46.5.
Giants always seem to be able to cover, so I'll take them to cover that number, but I'll take the Patriots to win. And I'll take the over.
I'm taking the under. I think that Jackson Dart's a little rusty. Give me the Patriots, and I'll lay the 7.5. And there you go. Those are our Week 13 picks in the NFL. What are you laughing about?
I'm just strolling through Twitter here real quick just to see if there's anything else that popped up other than Jeremiah Smith scoring a pretty sick-ass touchdown on Michigan.
That game's going on right now. Is it still 10-6?
Yes, I think so. And but Warriors World just tweeted this, and it cracked me up. I guess Draymond posted on Threads, "What's worse than a bad Thanksgiving meal? When a veteran leader punches his young blood teammate and instantly ends the dynasty." Damn. I don't know if that's real or not, but if it is, God, that's good.
And that's also from 4 days ago?
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't make any sense. Then why would that be? Why would he say that before Thanksgiving?
I don't know. Maybe that was is that dated some other time? I don't know when that was dated, maybe. But Warriors World sharing it cracked me up.
That's pretty funny. Jackass of the week, Steven. Anything you got there?
I mean, when we kind of talked about it at the top, there's not really many for me. I guess there's one where I don't know. You don't want to defend this guy.
Yeah.
All right. So that's why I was going back and forth. But there was I don't know if it was a Bulls fan or someone at the Bulls game but security had to escort a fan out because he was yelling things at Josh Giddey. And obviously Giddey underage, and that whole allegation, which turned out to be, at least what's publicly been identified, is that she completely lied, had a fake ID and everything. And supposedly he's been kind of absolved of everything. Like no one's been pressing any charges. So that whole thing is over in his life, and that chapter's over in his life. And is it, do we pronounce it in America? Do we still pronounce it, even though it's short for pedophile? Do we still say pedo?
Pedo.
Pedo. Do we do because it's an English thing to say pedo?
Okay.
Yeah. And someone, I guess, was just constantly yelling that at Giddey on the basketball court, and ended up getting ejected.
Yeah.
But also tried to like fist bump him and shake his hand. And I don't know, like I'm not trying to defend Giddey at all. Like he probably shouldn't have been in that situation in the first place, and all those different things. And I think we do way too much victim blaming, and I hate how victims are painted nowadays when it comes to like sexual abuse and all these sorts of different things. But Josh Giddey, like, I don't know, it kind of feels like that ship has sailed now, and whatever happened, he's trying to like move on with his life, and the fan's not letting him. So I guess that would be my number one. But the other one was just the guy calling Lane Kiffin a housewife or whatever.
Yeah.
Saying all that sort of stuff. Other than that, not a lot of jackasses of the week this week. It's been a nice little holiday week.
It has, but I have one in particular. Anybody that gave crap to Aaron Andrews for having the opinion that she misses holidays, like, I don't think people knew the context. I don't think people took the time to listen to the podcast. I didn't either. But just the reaction that she got of everybody just being like, well, then you shouldn't work in that profession then. Or like, you're paid handsomely to work holidays. We're all people. We're all humans. It doesn't matter how wealthy we are or
Eric, we're
whatever.
not allowed to have feelings.
Exactly. Like, I think we have a mentality now when in social media, if you make a certain amount of money, you're not allowed to, have emotions or feel a certain way. It wasn't like she was saying she wasn't grateful to have this job or work the biggest games in America, or the biggest games on Fox. And the fact that people were like, well, think about the people that have to work Thanksgivings, the people that are not fortunate, the people that work at retail places. I'm like, no one's saying that those people don't have it hard, but she was just being a human being. Where I felt that way. I had to work, holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas during my time at NFL Network. And, I was like, damn, I wish I could see my family. It's a normal thing to feel that way. So I thought that was really dumb for people to react that way.
Pretty lame.
Yep.
Pretty lame.
Anything for pop culture catch up, Steven?
Oh, just watched. All right. I'm going to call her out a little bit. She might not like it, but I'm going to call her out. So my lovely wife who's currently carrying our future son, and we're in the third trimester now, so we're in the home stretch. We started watching Stranger Things the last season.
Yeah.
And it's in the season's in 2 parts. They came out with 4 episodes now, and I think 4 episodes starting later in December, which is going to go through the new year. But so Jessie like wanted to watch it right away. She's like, because I get spoilers on my phone. I don't want to get any spoilers. I want to get this out of the way. I'm like, okay, cool. Like I'm good to watch it. I love Stranger Things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the morning of, I sent her an Instagram post, which gave like some previous episodes to watch, specific episodes from each of the first 4 seasons, which kind of give you an update. Or at least to tie into this first part of the finale. And she ended up watching like a couple of them, and she gets home and she's like, Steven, I don't think I've ever watched like Stranger Things from start to finish. We love Stranger Things. But she's like, I don't even think I've seen season 1. And like, she had her reasoning. It's because like her roommate at the time, who's now our good friend, who we're seeing tonight, the officiant at our wedding, Nick, he was watching season 1 while she was living there, and she'd watch it every now and then. But now she says, I've actually never watched it from season 1 through season 2. I've only watched 3, 4, and 5, and that just so happened to be when we started dating, which actually shows you, good God, this show's been on way too damn long. It takes too long to roll out 3 seasons if season 3 came out when we first met each other. So
Right.
anyway, just calling her out for that. Not really a pop culture catch up. I think Stranger Things it is what it is. If you like it, you're probably going to love this season. If you don't like Stranger Things and you're just looking for something to hate watch, then this might be perfect for you too, because I think there's certain things to nitpick, like these kids getting way too damn old for what their age is now. But I'd also like to think that's the Duffer Brothers, who are clearly obsessed with the 80s and have a bunch of homages to movies or television shows from that time. I'd like to think that they took hi Jesse. I'd like to think they took the Grease approach, where the kids in high school just look way too old to be in high school. And I'd like to think that's what their idea was by spreading out the seasons so far.
Haven't watched the new season yet, but find some time to do that.
It's good, man. I mean, it's one that keeps you engaged. The only thing I can't, the one that the age thing doesn't really get me so much with the guy who played Will. Doesn't really get me so much with the main character Finn Wolfhard, who plays Mike.
Yeah.
But the one that gets me is Gaten Mantazaro, or however you pronounce his name. The guy who plays I don't even remember his name anymore in the show. Oh, God damn it. The one with the curly hair.
The hot guy?
Not the hot guy.
No.
The younger one.
Oh, the dude with the lisp?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know his name.
And he has like something up with his teeth.
Dude, it's been so long since it feels like it's been so long since that last season came out. I can't recall anything that went on in Stranger Things, so I need
his character arc,
10-minute refresher.
His character arc, man. They have him just, it's crazy looking. Dustin, thank you, AJ Cruz. Dustin, that's the goddamn name I was looking for. With how Dustin was in the first season, just this happy-go-lucky, just, little elementary school kid who likes Dungeons and Dragons. Now he's like, he's had some shit happen to him, and it clearly shows in this season more than any other.
I'll almost say, Stephen, that this sounds more with Jesse, and not to put words in your mouth, but it almost sounds like this is more Jackass of the week than pop culture catch-up for you.
Me calling my wife Jackass of the week?
Apparently.
But there you go. She's the Jackass of the week, more than that guy from the Bulls game.
I'll do my pop culture catch-up. Finally saw the movie Weapons.
Yes.
Really good movie. Really solid. I like the different perspectives of all the characters and the day in the life of them. And Steven's making up to his wife right now. But I will say, spoiler alert, I wanted a little bit more as far as the backstory of the villain. I felt like that was just kind of thrown at us and like, just take it for what it is. But
well, what would I say if the creator of that has already written a prequel?
Yeah, no, I was watching with my little brother and he told me that's part of it. But just like a standalone movie, I was like, this is just kind of odd that we're not getting any detail about this.
Yeah. No, I think there's a lot of that. But I'm kind of on the other side of it, where I kind of like it when things are left up to interpretation. Like you don't know what the motivation is, you don't know why, but it was the makeup, the acting. Like I just thought it was a really, I just thought it was very well done. And I also like I like that timeline of storytelling where it's like you go through each character and, I think he said he was inspired by like Magnolia with how he came about that format.
Yes. Yeah.
So I like that. I like that a lot.
All right. And that's going to do it for today. And Jesse in the chat now responding to Ernie saying, damn, Derek. I'm just joking around, Jesse. Sorry.
That was Ernie too. That was Ernie too saying, damn, Derek. And Jesse's just reacting to Ernie saying, Steven is sleeping on the couch tonight.
Oh, gotcha. Well, you called me a jackass a couple weeks ago for wanting 2 rides home. So only fair.
Well, there was that, but no, it's the curly fry.
Oh, the curly fry. That's right. Well, yeah,
I get the curliest fry of the curly fries.
I guess that is I guess that's warranted.
It also wasn't I didn't see your reaction. I was speaking to a dark camera, like that the camera that was off. That was weird.
That was weird a week ago.
I tried clipping that show, and I was like, Our best stuff is when the camera's off.
Exactly.
It's gonna look odd.
Real quick, people have asked, and when I say people, it's just the two Ernies. Are we going to do another JYOM meetup? If you guys want to do one, I'm down to do one next Sunday, December 7th. Massier's or Massey's, however you pronounce it, is closing in Walnut Creek, which sucks. I love that place. And I thought, with the Niners having their bye week, good time to get everybody together. So if you guys want to come through, I think me, Walter, and Danny at KMBR are going to be hanging out. So if you guys want to come hang out with us, more than welcome to. I think Steven's going to be a little busy that day with baby stuff. But yeah, if you guys would like to come through, we'd be more than happy to hang out with you. But if not, all good. If you're busy. No, it's kind of on short notice. Yeah, we'll be back on Tuesday to react to Week 13 in the NFL, to Ernie 1, to Ernie 2, to Jesse, to Otis Bird, AJ Cruz. I believe that is it. All right, everybody. Anyway, James Pappas earlier. What up, James Pappas? Big Bears guy. All right, everybody. We'll see you on Tuesday. Steven, say what you always say.
It's just our opinion, man. Wait, no. Oh, no. I was going to leave the studio. Don't want to do that. End the stream. Just our opinion, man. Steven Langford, Pop.